Stephanie Hughes of Bloomberg joins us now. She's got her eye on some stocks on the move. Stephanie, great to see you. Start off with Cineplex, if you would.
Sure thing, Andy. So yeah, Cineplex shares are down as much as 4.8% today. That was the biggest intraday drop since May. And this came after the movie theater operator was hit with a financial penalty of nearly $39 million as Canada's Competition Tribunal sided with the Competition Bureau, which accused Cineplex of misleading customers with advertised ticket prices. They said that Cineplex engaged in drip pricing when they added a mandatory online booking fee worth about $1.50. The penalty is equivalent to what Cineplex got out of customers between June 2022, when this fee was first introduced, to about December 2023. So that news came out last night. We got some analyst reaction coming from National Bank. Adam Shine said his team was actually pretty surprised by the tribunal's decision and said that they initially expected a penalty closer to about $5 million or lower. They did add that while the worst case scenario of a penalty being near $117 million, or 3 times the amount that we saw today, didn't come to pass as some had feared. They said this was definitely a ruling worth appealing. And as we found out today, Cineplex does plan to appeal this. So we're just going to have to see what happens, Andy.
And give us the latest there on Hudbay Minerals. Certainly the copper stocks were in demand today with this Chinese stimulus.
For sure, yeah, that's the story of the day there, Andy. And I'm using Hudbay as a proxy to this whole commodities complex that we're seeing. So looking at Hudbay in particular, that stock is up at as much as 8.9%, gaining biggest intraday gain since May. And this came basically is rising in tandem with other miners and commodities names today after the Chinese central bank announced a slew of economic measures aimed at driving economic growth, supporting the housing market, and supporting the stock market. So the People's Bank of China cut a key short-term interest rate, and while announcing as well that they would reduce the amount of capital that banks would have to have in reserve to the lowest since at least 2018. The move prompted a bump up in commodities prices, or base metals prices, with copper and iron ore, which China is a big consumer of, and they're a main driver of the companies that produce them. So China's economic slump had been a bad news weight on the commodities market for the better part of the year. So this stimulus package was a welcome piece of news for the traders that are active in this space. So just to look at a few of the TSX gainers on the in the mining space, we're seeing First Quantum, Capstone Copper, Lundin Mining, Arrow Copper, Teck Resources, and many others rallying today. Pretty much the entire top 10 best performers list in the TSX was almost entirely dominated by miners, and that's really helping drive the broader market to reach fresh all-time highs today.
And certainly maybe we could put up Cameco, a 1-week chart or a 1-month chart for Cameco. I don't know if the uranium stocks, they're probably not directly related to the Chinese stimulus, but they still have legs. Investors delighted to hear that Microsoft is going to buy power from 3 Mile Island.
100%, Andy. There's a lot going on in the uranium space, and there's even more going on with that announcement that 3 Mile Island will be back in business basically by 2028. And it looks like there's a lot more demand just lately for these uranium, as a source of power and nuclear power plants to get going again. So this was a huge development late last week that Microsoft was actually going to be in a contract with Constellation Energy. You're absolutely right, Andy.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Stephanie Hughes of Bloomberg.